It's official. Jai Opetaia versus Noel Mikaelian confirmed. And Jai Opetaia also calls out David Benavidez for ducking. We're going to get into all of that in this video. But first of all, we have to talk about it. It is official. Jai Opetaia versus Noel Mikaelian on Saturday, 12th September. And I think it's happening on the undercard for Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn, which is, again, a very good fight. So this is another really top fight that is added onto that card. And as you can see there, Ring Magazine, Zuffa Boxing, DAZN, Paramount, all these guys are on there. But one thing that I noticed on this official poster is that I don't see anything regarding the WBC on this poster. So that raises some concern because according to reports, this fight is for the WBC Cruiserweight World Title. But on the poster, there's nothing indicating that Opetaia is fighting for the WBC World Title. So is there negotiations going on about, whether the WBC want to be part of this fight or not? But one thing we know is that Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia is happening for the WBC title belt. So it is clear that the WBC are open to working with Zuffa Boxing. But what is really strange, as I said, is on the poster, it doesn't say anything about a WBC, championship belt. All it talks about is the Zuffa belt, which is what Jai Opetaia is holding right now in this poster. So that is a little bit strange. So that is something that if you guys know anything about, get in the comment section and let me know. Is this fight actually for the WBC belt or it is not? Because as you guys know, other sanctioning bodies are very reluctant to work with Dana White. So this could be a negotiation that is going on in the background. Now, something really interesting about this fight is that Jai Opetaia makes it clear that he's not happy with David Benavidez and the way David Benavidez have been going about in terms of fighting him. And this is what Jai Opetaia said. He says, credit to Noel for stepping up to the plate. While others, yes, David Benavidez, I'm talking about you, continue to run and hide. So Jai Opetaia is making it clear, as you can see on your screen, that he's not happy with the way David Benavidez is moving, the way David Benavidez is sort of making excuses whether he wants to fight him or not. But guys, get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Is David Benavidez scared of Jai Opetaia? Is he running away? Is he ducking the fight? Or does he not see the commercial importance of that fight? People have made arguments that Benavidez is not scared. He just doesn't think that the fight makes a lot of money. And, he wants to go a different direction and fight the likes of Dimitri Bivol and so forth. But Jai Opetaia is convinced that David Benavidez does not want to fight him. And that's why he's made it clear that you're ducking me. You continue to run and hide. But credit to Noel for stepping up and wanted to take this fight. So look, it's an interesting thing that Jai Opetaia comes out and say, because normally we don't hear Jai Opetaia come out and say things like that. Normally he keeps things to himself. So it could be that Jai is just fed up with the whole situation about the WBC, about the IBF, about, Zuffa Boxing and not getting the right opportunity to fight. We know that Jai Opetaia, wants to fight for a world title. We know that. We know that Jai Opetaia has talked about the fact that he wants to unify the cruiserweight division before moving up to heavyweight. So Jai is very clear of his ambitions in the cruiserweight division. It just happens that he's not getting the fight that he believes he needs to be able to become an undisputed champion in the cruiserweight division. So I'm not surprised that Jai Opetaia is calling out, David Benavidez and saying that David Benavidez is ducking and that David Benavidez is running and hiding and doesn't want to fight. I'm not surprised. And as I said, we don't hear Jai talk about these things very often. So I guess, he's not happy with the situation and he wants to let his voice known and let people know where he stands regarding David Benavidez. But one thing that's also really important, guys, to talk about is that we know that Jai Opetaia right now is going through a court process. He's suing the IBF and also other people in boxing, including Eddie Hearn, allegedly that they have all conspired to make sure that he doesn't win world titles or to make sure that he doesn't get the opportunity to fight for world titles, and that these guys are part of a plot to stop him from realizing his dream in the cruiserweight division. And that's a really interesting claim there, because if the IBF took Opetaia's opportunity away for that fight against Brandon Glanton, then Opetaia has the ground to say that, you know, I was going to fight for a world title shot and you took that shot away from me. But according to the IBF, Opetaia and Zuffa Boxing made the fight seem as though it was only for the Zuffa belt and not for the IBF belt. So the IBF felt that they were not treated fairly when it comes to the promotion of that fight. So look, that's an interesting court process that we will see how that plays out, because Jai Opetaia is serious about his goal to become undisputed and he's not letting go. Now, one thing that I think is worth talking about is Noel Mikaelian. Who is Noel Mikaelian? What has he achieved? And what can he bring to this fight? Because that's the most important thing. You know, Jai Opetaia is going into this fight as the favorite. I don't think that anybody, you know, would be picking Mikaelian to beat Opetaia. I mean, there would be people picking Mikaelian to beat Opetaia, don't get me wrong. But I think the majority of people would be picking Opetaia as the favorite going into this fight. So who is Mikaelian and what has he done so far to, you know, become the WBC champion? And as I said, hopefully the fight is for the WBC belt, so that, you know, it would be more interesting if it's for the WBC belt than if it is not for the WBC belt. So look, Mikaelian currently 28 fights, 3 losses, you know, stands at 6'3.5". You know, so he's got a good reach on him, and he's a good fighter. He's a solid, decent fighter, you know, has a good fundamentals when it comes to the boxing, and he has good movement in the ring. But I don't think that, you know, it is anywhere close to what Opetaia is and what Opetaia does. But look, he gets the opportunity to prove that he can beat Jai Opetaia. Now, his win, you know, his recent win was against Buddy Jack, and Buddy Jack was the WBC champion, where he took the, you know, cruiserweight world champion away from Buddy Jack, as you can see there, and then he lost to Buddy Jack before that. So, you know, he had to come back and win the rematch, which is good. And then we can see that he beat Ilunga Makabu. He's a good fighter. And then apart from that, right, we look at his record here, and we can see that he fought against Maris Bredes. Now, he lost against Maris Bredes, right? This is the same Maris Bredes that Jai Opetaia beat twice. So, you know, you could see that Jai Opetaia has some advantage over Mikaelian already, because Maris Bredes is an incredible fighter, you know, an incredible champion in his own right, and he beats Mikaelian. So it is clear that Mikaelian, you know, if you look at why people think that Jai Opetaia is the favorite in this fight, it is clear to understand why people think Opetaia would beat Mikaelian. Not easily, but he would beat Mikaelian nonetheless, right? We go under here and we look at what he's done. We don't see anybody on, you know, Mikaelian's record that is compared to what Jai Opetaia has done in the cruiserweight division. So look, for me, Jai Opetaia is the clear favorite going into this fight. Mikaelian, I think, is going to make it a competitive fight. I think he's going to make an interesting, you know, fight nonetheless. But I think Jai Opetaia definitely comes on top. And hopefully, as I said, the WBC World Title is on the line, and Opetaia, you know, wins the title. And then maybe Opetaia goes out there and then he can finally fight David Benavidez for the unification fight. That would be really good. That would be really interesting to see. But look, Jai Opetaia is not happy with David Benavidez and the way he's been moving and not wanting to fight him. But Opetaia versus Mikaelian officially confirmed to take place in September on the undercard of Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn. Guys, get in the comment section and let me know what you think about the things we've discussed in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.